Welcome to Aussie Afterlife podcast. This episode, well, all the other episodes and anything I've possibly said ever contains explicit language, so not for younger listeners unless you're an actual cool parent, or for those without a sense of humour. So remember to grab your headphones for the paranormal investigation episodes. And you also get to listen to my voice super close to your ear. So that could be good or bad or both. I don't really know, but anyway. But what I want you to do is grab a drink, relax, and enjoy. And come into my version of the afterlife. Could be heaven, hell, purgatory. It's probably hell, but what of it? Enjoy. Well, welcome back to Aussie Afterlife. This is episode 57, and I hope you guys have had a very safe and fun break over, Christmas, New Year's, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, all that kind of bullshit. I really don't. I don't know if I've spoken to any of you about this, but me and Christmas and stuff, I'm just like, eh. Although this year actually was pretty good, so who knows? I might be converting into a bit of a festive person or whatever, festive woman. I don't know. It's really bad though too, like being a mum and trying to be like pro Christmas, like that's kind of so inside. I'm like, those fucking elves have to do one more goddamn thing. Shit's gonna hit the fan. But yeah, so speaking of, I don't know where they are. The elves. Oh my god. Anyway, sorry. B-roll. Yeah. But welcome back. I've had a little bit of a stint off. The elves are at their dad's. That's okay. Phew. Oh, good. My kids legit named their elves Sparkles and Jumward. Which one's the neurodivergent one? Jumward. Yeah. So no, I loved it. I actually had a really lovely Christmas and lovely break this year. I'm finally on some leave from work. So I'm off for 4 weeks, which is going to be like insane. Like part of me was just like, oh no, if I don't have structure, like I'll go awry. Like shit just like it's like anything that you should not happen probably does and will and then wouldn't, but whatever. But then I've got more shit to talk about. But I've actually I'm settling in quite nice to my 4 week of, I'm only a couple of days into, by the way, my 4 weeks of just recalibrating, just getting back to who I am as a human being in a somewhat manageable way. So I'm the sort of person that will do so much, and I've gone through a lot this year, as I've said. So obviously my way of coping with that is by probably overcompensating and doing a lot of other things for other people and completely, avoiding me having to deal with my emotional state or processing anything whatsoever. So that's good. I'm into processing mode now. So hopefully, I will be out of the year of the snake soon. So no more shed. I don't want no more shed. And hopefully my horse can just gallop the fuck through the fence and, 2026 year of Samio. But sorry, I went a bit off track there. But yeah, where I was going with that is I'm finally on leave, but like one of my main goals, one of my main things I wanted to do before I went on leave was I need to create this sensory garden that I've been promising my staff and all the rest of it out the back in this courtyard that we don't use anymore, which is a good thing we don't use it because it was used for restricted practices, which we don't really do anymore. So it's been great. So that courtyard, yeah, it was just this bare bit of grass with nothing. So I was like, no, I want to make this like fucking jungle. Like by the time I went on leave, I wanted it to be like the Jungle Book, like anacondas, like, no, not really, but yeah, I wanted to be like a full sensory experience, with like beautiful herbs and beautiful flowers that look pretty and that smell good, and you walk out there and it's a beautiful place to be. Because as I say, I work in a mental health unit, so obviously the more places the areas that you can create that promote that sensory loving environment is obviously very beneficial for everybody involved. So I called it my communal sensory garden, which I got it done. I was so impressed and I loved it. So I've got like before and after photos, and I'm secretly sitting there just like, this is good. But I did have help, obviously. A few of my staff are just absolutely, well, actually they're all awesome, but a few really got in there and helped with the planting and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the funny thing was, so previously we managed to get like $1,600 of fundraising money, right? So the first there, I'm like, look, I'll just go 1,000. I'll go to Bunnings, it was great. Like now I reckon I've been to Bunnings more than my own house. Like I'm just walking around like, oh yeah, no, it's down aisle 27. Like, yeah, it's a thing. So yeah. So anyway, so I go there, I spend the original 1,000. We get quite a few like it's bare, but we still have $600. So the 1,000 originally they let us use gift certificates, so gift vouchers. So they transferred like the purchase order into whatever. So I could go back a couple of times. Anyway, so I had the final $600 left. So on my last day, I'm like, I should go and just at least get the vouchers. Let me just go get the vouchers. So when I'm on leave, people can go and, take it from there, whatever. Anyway, so I go there. They're like, no, we don't do the vouchers with the purchase order. And I'm like, well, they did last time. And they're like, well, they shouldn't have. And I'm like, well, they did. And I said, well, how the hell am I meant to spend $600, just little old me with my little car that I have? And they're like, we don't know, but we don't do purchase, like we don't do the gift certificates with purchase orders. And I'm like, I was like, well, can I at least leave a couple of trolleys around? Anywho, so I was there for about 2 hours. Anyway, I shopped a storm. Like I got the best plan. I got everything, like everything you can imagine. I spent the $600. I had 2 trolleys full near the back of the area. The guy's like, look, I'll just keep scanning you, keep bringing it up. Anyway, so this lovely dude from Bunnings is like, do you want me to help you? How far away is your car? And I'm like, oh, it's just over there. He's like, okay, well, do you want to bring it up here and I'll help you load in the car? And I was like, thank you, because I'm sweating. I was like, I'm a nurse, I'm like, now I reckon I've got these amazing muscles now because I've just been like heaving soil everywhere, I'm just like this brute, like, I don't know. I reckon I could go work in the mines at this point, because I've been doing my own garden too. Anyway, there's so much garden going on. I can like lift soil bags. I can do all this stuff. Whereas beforehand, if I lift one, I'm like, oh, my bag, oh, I can't do it, like kind of thing. And now I'm just kind of like, yeah, bros, chuck it in. I'll fucking lift it and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, so sorry. You can tell I haven't done an episode in a while. I'm a little bit rusty, but yeah. So anyway, so I bring the car around, open the boot, whatever, and this. You can tell I was on my last day of work, right? Because I'm like, I just need to get this shit back into work. Because it was already like 4:30 and I'm meant to clock off at 5. So I'm like, yeah, no. So the dude's helped me. I'm like, oh, this is great. So anyway, I made the fatal error. I made an error, okay, of leaving my driver's side door open a little bit too much. So this woman couldn't drive past it because someone was coming the other way. And I like look at it. She was literally stopped for about, I'm not even kidding, less than 2 seconds. And then she's like looking at me, fucking tooting the horn and like, I'm just like, I looked at her and I was like, and I'm like, oh, shut the door. I'm like, sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm just doing a sensory garden for, mental health consumers, no problems. Anyway, so I went and shut the door, and then the dude was helping me load the car. And then under my breath, this little angel was like, fucking bitch. Anyway, the dude turned around and like started pissing himself laughing. And I was like, sorry. I said, it's my last day of work, like, angel. I'm like, I'm just a bit hot and sweaty. And, and he's like, no, I vibe because I wish I could say that stuff. He's like, I do it in my own head. And I'm like, so do I, but I also verbalize it. And he's like, that's great. You've made my afternoon. I'm like, thank you. You've validated me. You've made my afternoon. But anyway, yeah. I'll never understand, and this is after Christmas, after New Year's, like there's no rush. This woman, I don't know what she had to get in there for, probably some fucking tea lights or some, oh shit, I need a new bloody barbecue mop. I don't know. I'm like, I need some new hinges for this door I haven't opened in 70 years. She was a bit older. I didn't swear at her, by the way. It was under my breath, but she deserved it. But yeah, anyway. So sorry about that crazy story. But anyway, I got all the shit back there. I was bringing in the trolleys. I was bloody, I literally even I think the people at work were like, wow, Sam is hyper fixating. And I looked at them and I was like, you don't know ADHD Sam until you see me get so fixated on getting a job done. I didn't leave work till about 8 o'clock because I was rearranging all the plants where they needed to go. And anyway, by the time I left, it's a beautiful sensory jungle. And I'm so proud of this. It was worth every time a penny and F word said and every drop of sweat, because I'm pretty sure I left work and I wasn't the prettiest smelling or whatever. And I kept being like, don't come near me. And they're like, you're fine, Sam. And I'm like, no, literally, I'm dripping. Can you just not? And I'm like, see, I knew I'd go out with a bang for 4 weeks. But yeah. Anyway, 2026, bring it on. Loving it already. I feel like a new woman most of the time, sort of. Yep, all cool. 4 weeks of leave. I'm going to redevelop myself. Thought, nah, I've got to get back in my podcast. So the longer I leave this is the longer that I continue to ramble, clearly. But I've finally launched my merch and stuff. So please head over to my Etsy store. I'll put the link in this episode as well. But it's really, if you just went onto Etsy and typed in Aussie Afterlife, boom, there I am. So there's t-shirts to purchase from $25. So you can either get like double-sided print or just one-sided print. And you can pick what color and what logo that you want. So yeah, there's also a cap and a stubby holder. And the stubby holder's only $5, the cap's $10, like legit. Come on, support a lady. Just think about me and my beautiful sensory garden, and yeah, the year 2025 can go fuck itself. But yeah, no, so support Sammy O in 2026. And yeah, but anyway, let's kick it off with a paranormal investigation episode. So I have been reviewing some audio and I was like, hang on, I went to Aradale recently, didn't I? And did a full private tour. Here is my audio evidence from my private tour with the Ghost Gals at Aradale Asylum in Ararat, Victoria. As we all know, I love it, been there many times, but it's going to be wild. So grab a drink, relax, and enjoy. The first lot of recordings commence in the chapel. The chapel at Aradale Asylum appears to blend in with the rest of the buildings, although as you walk closer, a cross is placed at the top front of the building, above an understated sign simply stating chapel. Beneath are two old wooden double doors that do not really beckon you to enter. Nothing about this chapel is fancy, and the size is quite small. However, the spiritual energy inside is anything but that. Once a place where broken minds and wounded hearts sought solace, hymns were sung in trembling voices, voices that would have been praying for respite and potentially release, or perhaps just as simply a letter or a visit from family in the world outside the gates and walls of the asylum. The chapel now breathes nothing but an unsettling silence. Shadows pull thickly in the corners and in between the rows of the wooden pews that are still present. Each shadow catches the next. Step inside and your footsteps seem unnaturally loud, as though the chapel itself is listening. Many visitors who have sat in the chapel report strange sensations. Sudden drops in temperature, a feeling of being watched, and whispers that can't be traced by any living tongue. And sometimes a distinct feeling of breath on the back of the neck when no one stands near. For me, I've always had a slight feeling of anxiety. Feelings of not being wanted, as if I was intruding on a sacred space. Feeling as though someone is sitting next to me in one of the pews or behind me. I can feel my increased hypervigilance when I'm in that chapel. Feelings of wanting to turn around, take as many photos as I can in the hopes of catching what or who I can feel. As I've said, I've investigated Aradale many times, and the chapel is always one of my favourite places. I feel different each time, although this time I felt like I could tune in better than ever before. Here are the first EVPs and recording from my private investigation at Aradale, commencing in the chapel. Chapel recording one. Okay, so to kick us off for the very first EVP of this episode, you can hear me saying, okay, chapel recording one, and then you hear a, yeah. So this happened basically as soon as we were walking into the double doors of the chapel. So something was very keen to start communicating pretty much, and I'm pretty sure this time stamps at about 8 seconds into the very first recording. So I'll play it for you a couple more times. So that little one was obviously, well, to me, it sounded like a kind of thing. So it will be a bit choppy and changey because there's so many small clips that I'm going to play for you. I'll try and sort of not interrupt too much, but I'll try and give you also a bit of context to where we're at. So we're literally have only just come into the chapel, we're only just sitting down. This was probably time stamped at about 12 seconds in. So let's continue on. Okay, so that one I feel says like, I don't raise the word. I'm not sure. I'll play it for you a few more times. Yes, that was a longer clip and it is a little bit harder to decipher what's happening in that. But there is a lot of the same male voice sort of whispering in the background. Initially, there's one that gets a bit loud. I tried to make it as clear as possible, but I feel like that says, oh, what do I think it's, oh, yeah, get it. And then through it, you can still hear the other male voice underneath it all having the same sort of, it's the same vocal tone. I can't really make out what it says, but it definitely was not, we had 3 men in our group, but it definitely was not any of those 3. I can assure you of that. Yeah. And then there's another male, yes, and another couple of little ones there, but I won't replay that one. If you want to rewind, have another few listens to it, please remember your headphones as well, which I always like to say, but yeah, let's continue on.
You step away from my back. Did you talk to us? You step away from my back.
So we were also doing a spirit box session in the chapel as well. And so that's one of the voices that actually came through the spirit box. And I believe it says year 4, something like that. It was really clear and it even came through so clear on my own audio recorder. So I'll play it for you one more time and we'll continue on.
Can you give us 1 for yes, 2 for no? If you want to use these. Yes. Yeah. 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 Yep. Okay. So, can you tell us your name?
How do they answer yes or no?
So it will flash once for yes and it will flash twice for no. That's a no.
Okay, thank you. Why won't you tell us your name?
So with those last couple, there's clearly a whistle and then someone saying, do you want to use these? Then you can hear a male saying, yes. And then after that, there's another couple of little whistles. No one was whistling in the chapel. None of us, like, I literally would have kicked someone if they're going to like tarnish, an EVP session or a spirit box session like that by making stupid sounds. Uh, that is completely not explained. So, yeah, I'll play them for you a couple more times.
If you want to use these,
Yes.
yeah. If you want to use these,
Yes.
yeah. Why won't you tell us you're married? Why won't you tell us you're married?
Yeah.
It's something that is true. It's true. That is true.
Okay. So remember how I said a little while ago that my own experience was that I felt someone sitting next to me? Well, while sitting there in the pews, I kept feeling my hair being touched. And I purposely, actually, if you sort of look at what I do in my paranormal investigations, I pretty much always, like 99% of the time, I always wear my hair out because most of the time it gets touched. So I had my hair out. I did have a beanie on, but I had my hair out and it kept like annoying me. And I was like, oh, you can hear me saying, stop it. And then you hear a, Sam. So whatever it was having a little bit of fun. And there's something else that also pops up a little bit later on relating to me, but yeah, I'll play it for you a couple more times.
That is true. That is true. That is true. He's watching.
Well, this is a safe area. We've made this a safe space. We're willing to talk to any spirits of light and positive energy. Yes. Spirits of light and positive energy. Yes. Spirits of light and positive energy. Yes. Spirits of light and positive energy. Yes.
Okay, so that last one was a little bit hard to hear, but what I could hear is like a very soft, gentle female in response to we made this a safe space. We're able to talk, all that sort of stuff. And I hear a thank you. It's very, very, very faint, but very sweet, even childlike. And there was actually an earlier bit on in the recording, which I'd had cut out, but it had said that there was a child that came through the spirit box. So I'll play it for you another couple of times, but it seemed like someone was happy with what we were trying to do.
Of light and positive energy. Yes. Of light and positive energy. Yes. There's so many voices.
I know that there's men in here, but they're not like the men that you knew in life. No one in here would ever mean you any harm.
Nurse. Are you calling for a nurse?
No, you're scared of the nurse.
What, me?
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough.
She's not like the nurses that you knew. Nurses today are very different to nurses back then.
I love my job and I love looking after the people in my ward. If anything, I've been praised for it.
Sitting is very distressing.
Okay, so what you just heard was a spirit box session, and intelligent, reactive responses from the spirits we were communicating with. So at the start, they identified that there are men in the room, and then you hear 3 men in the room, and there was 3 men in the room. And so it continues on, and then our guide was like, no, they don't want to mean you any harm. And then you hear nurse, and I'm like, who, me? What the hell? Like, I don't mean no one harm. And then I said, like, I love my job, and I try my best to look after people, and I've even been praised for it. And then on the spirit box, I get a response saying, have you really? I'm like, yes, I have. I live and die for this job. It's like, but I'll play the whole clip for you one more time and see if you can identify what's going on. So obviously there's a couple of loud noises because spirit box can obviously cause static and everything. But yeah, I'll play this clip for you one more time. And yeah, that will conclude our investigation in the chapel.
There's so many voices.
I know that there's men in here, but they're not like the men that you knew in life. No one in here would ever mean you any harm.
Nurse. Are you calling for a nurse?
No, you're scared of the nurse.
What, me? Alright, fair enough.
She's not like the nurses that you knew. Nurses today are very different to nurses back then.
I love my job and I love looking after the people in my ward. If anything, I've been praised for it.
Singing is very distressing.
So, next we move on to the women's ward at Aradale Asylum. This ward has a different vibe to the rest of the buildings. A quiet, distinct sound, a sound and a vibe that feels like it's listening. Long corridors stretch beneath some ceilings that are sagging, where some other ceilings are quite perfect, and the carpet is practically in fantastic condition. There's paint, and it peels like shedding skin, and every footstep echoes a little longer than it should. The feeling of being followed is incredibly common. Being in this ward alone is an experience that differs from anything else that I have experienced. Fear or uncertainty are not the correct verbs. Sometimes you feel welcomed, other times there is a slight rush up behind you that makes your heart almost stop. The air is cold, unnaturally so, carrying the scent of damp stone, neglect, and something faintly medicinal, as if the building never quite forgot its purpose. But the cold is unforgettable and really sets the emotional path and memories of the spirits that remain. Rows of rooms line the halls. Some of the heavy doors are hanging open, hinges frozen mid-groan. Some unable to be opened, and some remain opened, inviting you inside to relive the experience of the ladies who once remained inside. The walls and the doors are scarred with scratches, deep scratches, and some stains, remnants of the lives and the pain of once that confined within them. Darkness and the Ararat city lights slip through the tall windows, casting long shadows that seem to move when you're not directly looking at them. This was a place of silence enforced, of whispered prayers, restrained screams, and women deemed unfit by a world that feared what it couldn't understand. Their presence feels woven into the bricks, an oppressive weight that presses against your chest, urging you to leave while daring you to stay. Quite typical of the feminine energy, as I like to think. And I quite resonate and enjoy this energy that I feel when I visit. And this is possibly my favourite ward of Aradale. And when the wind threads its way through the empty hallways, it doesn't sound like weather or wind at all. It sounds like breathing. So, let's listen to a couple of EVPs I captured early in the night whilst alone in the women's ward. So there's a name on there, Alanah. Alanah, are you still with us? Or are you discharged? Hi, Lorna. Don't want to bother you, but hello. Don't want to bother you, but hello. Don't want to bother you, but don't want to bother you, but. Wow, that was the first EVP that I captured from the women's ward. We do return there a bit later on. I actually haven't reviewed the audio yet. It was incredibly quiet in the ward that night, but the feelings were there. It was welcoming, but I felt like they couldn't speak. But when I saw an actual name that was still written on the walls, like a name tag kind of thing, I said the name and said, "Hi, Lorna," and I got a hi back, which is really special. So it's lovely. I'll play it for you probably 2 more times and then I'll continue on to the next one. There's only a couple more left of the women's ward, and then I think I'll conclude the episode here, but I'll pick up with part 2. Just me walking around. I wonder if down here is this that bathroom. I reckon it's down here, or is it maybe it's upstairs. There's one here. Oh, jeez, what a crazy fuck out. Yeah. It was in there. I reckon when I walked past, I was like, and I had to come back and double check. It was like someone was sitting there. Sorry, ladies, we're just going through a quick walk through. Okay, so sorry, that was the last EVP for this episode. I will conclude after this, but however, in typical Sam fashion, I got told to shh. I clearly was walking around the ward and having a bit of a chat. I did have my partner at the time with me then, but it was just him and I there. And walking around, I was talking about the bathrooms and all this sort of stuff, and then I was reminiscing about the time that I saw a female spirit or something sitting on the toilet the last time I was there with one of my other friends. So, and as I was saying, you hear this shh kind of thing. I'll play it for you a few more times, and then that will conclude part 1 of Aradale Revisited. Just me walking around. I wonder if down here is this that bathroom. I reckon it's down here, or is it maybe it's upstairs. Here is this that bathroom. I reckon it's down here, or is it maybe it's upstairs. Here is this that bathroom. I reckon it's down here, or is it maybe it's upstairs. Here is this that bathroom. I reckon it's down here, or is it maybe it's upstairs. Well, that concludes part 1 of Aradale Revisited, and I want to give a massive shout out and thanks to the Ghost Gals, Alanah and Ash, for inviting me to the private tour. It's amazing. Please follow, do whatever. They're on TikTok, everywhere. So they're friggin' awesome, and they're such amazing, genuine young ladies and young paranormal investigators, including mediumship and psychic abilities. So they're just awesome. So big shout out and thank you for inviting me. And I look forward to the next one too, girls. So, but yeah. But yes, there'll be more parts to this. This one I've done a little bit differently. I've literally only reviewed and then I've only reviewed the audio now and then put it in the episode now. So I've got no idea what's to come, how much is to come. There could be nothing to come. I shouldn't be using that word so much because it sounds really gross, but yeah. No. Sorry, that was inappropriate. But yeah. No. But thank you very much, everyone. I'm happy to be back with the paranormal investigation episode. I've missed it and I've got so much more content to share with you, which would be great. But however, my Etsy store, as I said earlier, is now live. So if you guys want a t-shirt, you guys can pick and choose your color, designs, whatever you want. There's also caps and stubby holders as well. So I'll put the link to the Etsy store in the description of this episode. But however, you go onto Etsy, search Aussie Afterlife, boom, there I am. And just remember that everything that you do helps me get better and helps me go to better places and do more podcasting and just everything. And you're helping a small Aussie business, because that's what I am. I am a business. At the moment, I do not take in any money whatsoever. So I classify myself as a business, but it's kind of like a love job, really, which it will be. But anything I do receive from you guys is pure support and will really help me keep going and keep growing and getting better. Because if no one's noticed, the paranormal field has fucking exploded of late. I personally don't listen to really anything except for people that I'm close with or people that I've collaborated with. I listen to their content, but I'm not out actually actively listening to other people's sort of stuff. But yeah, if you do want to collaborate, you want to have a chat, you got the same sort of morals and same vibe as me, please let me know. I love the collab. Let's do it. Let's see what we can get done. And yeah, I just want to talk to other paranormal people in the industry that, as I say, have the same intentions as me. Just getting the voices out there, and not about clout, not about bullshit, just really demonstrating that the afterlife is real. And we do go on, which is a really beautiful thing to think about. But yes, so I keep my circle small, but however, please reach out, please message me. I have my email, aussieafterlife@outlook.com, or my Instagram. I also have TikTok and YouTube, I haven't really been putting any sort of fucking effort into it because I'm 37 and I feel a bit stupid with a lot of technology. So every episode I do, I learn something more, which is really cool. But yeah, please head over to my Etsy store, grab yourself a sick t-shirt or a cool stubby holder. Everyone needs a stubby holder, right? Just have Aussie Afterlife on it, represent, okay? Just help a sister out. But yeah. I look forward to bringing you guys part 2 of Aradale Revisited very soon. Thank you, and have a safe week. Goodbye.